Before we get to the review, I want to address something, and this is to all you people who blacklist this anime because some characters look emo and other characters just act whiny. Most of the characters in this are actually not that bad, okay? There is no character here that is over dramatic or overreacts at all.
All you happy people deserve to just die. Bang!
Oh, forget it. Let's just get on with this. Okay, people, I do have a lot to cover today, and I do have a lot to talk about, so I'm going to get right down to it. Here is my Gilgamesh anime review. Premiering in 2003, Gilgamesh is a 26-episode anime with a very strong apocalyptic theme. The story begins at a place called Heaven's Gate, which is a research facility built around the city of Uruk, where the tomb of an ancient and legendary king, whose name escapes me for the moment, once was. We are quickly introduced to Teramichi Murata, a professor who works at Heaven's Gate and is studying a new type of energy called Dynamis. However, upon learning what catastrophic effects these new discoveries will have on the planet, the site of Heaven's Gate is forced to close and all research to cease. Despite this, Teramichi enters the depths of Delphus, and in what is thought to be a terrorist attack, he releases Tia. Look, all these new terms like Delphus, Tia and Dynamis are explained as the series goes on. I would do it myself in this review, but that would risk spoiling the story for all of you who haven't seen this yet. But trust me, everything will be explained. Carrying on, the results of Teramichi's actions changed the entire world, as he predicted it would.
So this is the end.
In the middle of this century, a single terrorist attack transformed the world. Sounds like a cartoon from the last century, I know. But this really happened.
Skip forward a few years. The world is only really starting to just recover from the events of that day. The date of the incident has been known as Twin X. After years of war and famine, people have gotten used to the sheltering sky, as it is now known, which is filled with energy that gives it a mirror look. A lot of technology, such as computers and cell phones, are now unusable. The world is a very different place. Two new characters are quickly brought into the light. The main protagonist Tatsuya and his older sister Kyoko, who are on the run from people their mother was in debt to, and are also the children of Teramichi Murata. While trying to escape their pursuers, they take refuge in an old house where they meet the Gilgamesh group, and in particular Novum, who has the biggest role in the series out of all the Gilgamesh. They reveal to Tatsuya and Kyoko that they work for Teramichi Murata, who is now known as Enkidu. The Gilgamesh persuade the debt collectors to leave the siblings alone, then attempt to recruit both the siblings themselves. However, a trio group by the name of Augur appear, Buko, Toru and Usamu, who work for the Countess of Weddenburg. After a brief battle with Gilgamesh, Augur takes Tatsuya and Kyoko back with them, and once clearing their mother's debt, the Countess now says they both belong to her. And this is the real start of the story of Gilgamesh. Now, if you don't know anything about the legend Epic of Gilgamesh, don't worry. This anime is very catering and requires no pre-knowledge of the legend to follow it.
Let's stop running. It's all the same. It's as pointless as trying to outrun the sky.
Don't say that.
Gilgamesh really sets a new standard in anime. It has characters I really care for, characters I can really show hate towards, and ones I can really pity. I love this anime to death. It's a nice mix of horror drama and sci-fi. Which upsets me to say this anime ends up being the most disappointing one I have ever seen and ends up being the biggest letdown. Sadly, while the positives of this anime are strong, it is still outweighed by the negative aspects. First, we'll look at the good points. The animation. I know a lot of people don't like the animation style used in Gilgamesh, but I do. Now I agree. An anime has to have a certain standard in animation quality. But as far as I'm concerned, if the animation helps with the atmosphere of the story, then there is no problem. And the animation in Gilgamesh does achieve this. The music is in one word excellent for this series. It's a nice mix of classical and original pieces that really brings this anime to life. In fact, the music and the animation style go nicely side by side and create a really powerful atmosphere that draws the audience in, which really helps with the experience you get from watching Gilgamesh. The story is mostly well told. It's a dark type of story, but it's very close to being at the top of its game. Plus, it comes with a few nice surprises as we go along. The English dub is spot on. I don't think I could have asked for it to be any better. And I was also happy to see Andrew Love get a much larger role.
I just realized I've been so foolish to think that I would have died for you.
The characters have such a strong and realistic feel, it's unbelievable for an anime. Which brings me to my star of the show and one of my favourite anime characters of all time, Kyoko Madoka. And here's why. Kyoko is just such a realistic character. Not utterly defenseless, not over the top strong or arrogant, and a story, even though it just acts as a side story for most of the series, though it does play an important part in how things come together, it is beautifully told. It deals with her wanting to look after her brother, seeing as he is all she has, then facing the reality that he no longer needs her, making Kyoko question what she wants to do with her life now, and she is looked down upon by some people, others just see as a pretty face and nothing more, and is all around treated badly and judged harshly.
Was that kind of examination necessary?
If we waited to find out, it would be too late.
There's no way that kind of thing would have happened. I've told you time and time again. Nothing happened there.
We're dealing with Gilgamesh. There's no such thing as being overly cautious. Besides, I was thinking of you when I did this. I must admit I was surprised when I heard the report. You never have you? I thought you must have played around a little.
Ah, I want to give her a hug. She eventually leaves her brother with the Countess quite early into the series to pursue her own dream of becoming a piano player. I love the little tuning fork she carries around too. However, in reality, the world isn't as easy as that, and she has to make a living by other means. The romantic feelings developed between her and Novum are looked at from a very mature angle, and unlike most animes, they treat her sexual attraction towards Novum without her always seeming embarrassed or acting in a childish way, nor do they make her over-sexualized and try to force what's going on down our throats. Why can't more animes follow this example? It's such a nice change to have this approach. Kyoko and Novum's romance is great to watch. It made me as giddy as a schoolgirl when they were both together. Tee-hee. I love Kyoko's time on screen. Watching her story had some raw emotion and really powerful essence to it.
I guess that covers everything I wanted to say.
And that is why she's one of my favourite anime characters, because she is someone who is done very realistically. All around though, a lot of the characters have strong development, and their attitudes change to fit the situations they are in as the story goes on. You may find yourself feeling very different towards some characters at the end compared to what you did at the beginning. Well, now that I have covered the good points, it is time to talk about what killed this anime for me. While the character designs were nice, the facial expressions sometimes looked absolutely ridiculous, and that did bug me throughout. The story's pacing was sometimes a little off. There were a few scenes I thought could have been shortened or left out altogether. The fight scenes could be very awkward to watch. At times they didn't hold my attention and felt very gimmicky and out of place for this anime. While a majority of the characters did have great development, there were those who had zero, and this is especially true for the Gilgamesh group. Towards the end there were a couple of members of Gilgamesh who took up a lot of screen time without being given any real introduction or anything. I actually had to look up on the internet just to find out who they were. Sometimes the dialogue used in character conversations or tone of voice they used felt very unnatural and forced when you think about the entire story and each character's goals.
You don't scare me. Wanna die?
And now for the death blow, the ending. Don't worry, I'm not going to spoil it, and for all of you who like the ending, just hear me out. I like the idea of the ending, It was the presentation of the ending that ruined Gilgamesh. We have this big story build up over 25 episodes. Then the 26th one comes along, which is a 15 to 25 minute episode. And they try to cram everything in, and it's just event after event after event, with no real breather or break to let us really take in what is happening. By the time you realise what's going on, it's over. And because it was so quick, it fails to deliver on the real impact it should have. I really think this should have been carried over at least one more episode. It almost makes it heartbreakingly painful to watch this series a second time, seeing all the aspects they got right in Gilgamesh, but knowing the ending is just a rushed, jumbled mess. This series had such a good thing going. Why did they rush the ending and ruin it like that? And unfortunately, it is the final nail in the coffin to what is close to being a masterpiece in anime and a true work of art. This anime has a very mature presentation while having a mature look to it, and is for a mature audience. There is quite a lot of blood shown, and some of the characters' deaths were quite brutal. There is a fair share of swearing throughout, but it is in moderation at least. There is some brief nudity to be found, and some strong sexual situations and themes, but no real sex scenes. The horror aspects of the series are more psychological and play with your mind, but they do work, and every now and then you may catch a glimpse of something in the shadows that will give you the odd shiver. It's a decent story, where the lines between good and evil, right and wrong, do start to blur, and it has a great cast of characters who aren't emo or overdramatic in any way.
I felt nothing. I used to feel nothing. Now I see things were better that way.
You know, I like to think of Gilgamesh as an unforgettable and unique journey. And even though the destination may disappoint, it's a journey I would encourage everyone to try. And it's one I enjoy taking time and time again.
Let him go!
Well, that's my review. Most people do reviews. I do reviews. What's a review? Well, it's a review, but done by me. Because Deantay's reviews sound snappier than Deantay's reviews. I'm a very shallow person. Anyway, that's it from me. Thank you for watching. Please leave some comments and feedback, everyone, but don't post spoilers. If you like my review, please subscribe to my channel, as I have more in the works, which I will upload as soon as I can. But for now, this is Deantay, signing off.
Novum. It was wrong of us to bring you here. That's enough. You're free to leave. We release you. I'd like to walk you out, but Tatsuya and the others are here to pick you up. But I promise you, we will not do this a second time. And if you should get in our way after this, you will become our enemy. We'll kill you for standing against us. This is the professor's will. Tell that to your brother as well.
His will, huh? Is that some telepathic message from him? How convenient.
No. The professor is everywhere, in all of creation. And he conveys his will to us even now. Listen.